A lot of you will recognize Matt Bennett. If you don't know him, he's a big deal. And Case IH thought he's a pretty good deal, and he always attracts standing room only crowd at the Farm Progress Show because you know how guys should market their grain. And they need to know, don't they?
Well, it's a tough one. It's tough to market. You know, like I've been talking this week, the last 3 years you didn't have to be a very good marketer. 2023 is a little more complicated. 24 actually looks to me like it might be more straightforward and easy than 23 was, because in 23 we had super high input prices last year and a lot of folks bought their fertilizer and didn't sell corn. This year, you know, you can buy your fertilizer and sell corn right now and lock in a pretty good income, at least on your fertilizer purchase. I would like to sell enough bushels to do that, but the problem is whenever you lock one side of the equation and not the other, you open yourself up to some potential problems. So I do think 24 could be a profitable year. It's just not going to be like 21 and 22, and we need to get our minds wrapped around that.
Is that the main message that you've been hitting the boys with this week?
Yeah, I mean, we got to adjust our expectations a little bit. You know, I don't want to be bearish. I don't want people to think that, you know, the world's coming to an end here. It's just we're in a different environment. And so whenever we have excessively high prices, it fixes high prices. You know, what does it do? Well, it encourages more supply and it drops demand. I mean, that's just the way things work. And when you get both of those things to happen at the same time, it can be painful. And that's some of the pain I think we're already experiencing. Some of the pain we'll continue to experience, especially if South America follows us up with another good crop. And, you know, you've got to expect that we've got a chance at a good crop next year with El Nino currently in place.
We have seen USDA just step by step in the last several months lower their export estimation. It's been kind of interesting, hazardous to go down if we want to sell something. But what we've also seen are inclines for demand for various facets of various products made by corn and soybeans.
Right.
You had mentioned to the guys this morning about sustainable aviation fuel using so much ethanol and so much renewable diesel going on out in California. It's got to, when people hear that, they've got to be real happy and get a warm feeling from it.
Yeah, you know, the first portion of my presentation, if you will, I think if I can get people to sit through that and not leave, then they'll get the good news on the backside, you know, because the bad news is that balance sheets just don't look good. They're pretty rough. When we look at the potential for us, though, as we lose world export share, as we lose some of that business we've enjoyed in the past versus the South Americans, for instance, it's not the end of the world if we're using the products domestically. And so I feel like we've got support from energy, obviously. We've got support from Washington. We've got support from the right places to be able to count on biofuels really being a huge facet of our demand moving forward. And so I'm really excited that that's going on. I've got to think that based on renewable, it's white hot right now. The pump is primed and you're churning through a lot of renewable. I think you'll pick up bean acres because of that. I think 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, the sustainable, in my opinion, is really going to be pumping hard there too. And I think we'll get more to a corn being better than, or acreage being bigger than beans again. But I'm not so sure, Stu, in the next 2 to 3 years, you don't see bean acres eclipse corn. There's a lot of crush plants going up right now, and it's going to create demand. Like I said today, if you're a soybean originator, and your crush plan is $2 to $3 in crush margins and you run empty, you better get your resume dusted off. You know, I mean, you got to keep that plant going. The only way you do it is by encouraging growers to plant beans.
Right now, the relationship between corn and beans, I don't know if it's been higher.
Right. It's been higher before, but I mean, it's high. It's 2.8 to 1 right now. It's not going to stay there. People say, well, corn has to rally. I said, bull butter. If you take soybeans and drop them, the ratio drops. Okay, so can you make money at $13.10 beans on 24 beans? Absolutely. So you got to be really careful to sit here and think that, that 24 ratio isn't going to change. Now, the 23 ratio is just crazy. because you've got $14 beans and you're looking at sub $5 corn. I mean, it's 3.3 or 4 to 1. It's just crazy. That is probably not going to change much because the crop's already been decided. But new crop, pay attention to it, because one of two things are going to happen. Either corn's going to rally or beans are going to go down. And I'm not so sure that beans going down is where I would place my bet right now.
Now, you have given great presentation to these guys Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What have they been asking you? What is on their mind that they're concerned about?
Should I buy my fertilizer right now? It's been a big question for them. Should I go ahead and sell everything? Should I store? Is there going to be any benefit to storing? What should I do on my 24 sales? And so those are topics I've been asked a lot over the last month or two. So I've tried to address them in the presentation, and I tell them, I said, just ask all the questions you can ask. And so fortunately, I get a lot of those answered before they ask.
We appreciate time with Matt Bennett, Bennett Consulting and agmarket.net. You can look for his not only his thoughts, but some great tools on the website at agmarket.net to really help you manage risk in marketing corn and beans. I'm Stu Ellis.